Hi, everybody. It's Danielle Damiano with Guaranteed Rate, and I am here once again with Kelsey Dineen with Midland Trust, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about self-directed IRAs, what they are, and how you can use them. So, Kelsey, thank you so much for being on. You're so informative with all of this stuff, so I really, really appreciate it. So, Kelsey, why don't you tell us a little bit about what a self-directed IRA is?
Sure. So all it is a retirement account that allows real estate as an investment option. So a lot of people, when they think of retirement accounts, they think of a 401k or a pension or an IRA that's in stocks or bonds. And they don't realize that they can actually use all that money that they've been saving over their entire lives to actually buy real estate instead of stocks or bonds. So it's a pretty cool tool.
Oh, wow. Okay. So let's say somebody has a 401k. Well, if you have a 401k, you're doing a 401k rollover into another 401k, right? Okay. So let's say you have an IRA, and you want to invest it in real estate. So you would do a self-directed IRA. What happens when that money is not getting invested into real estate?
Sure. So the first thing is if you have a 401k and it's at an old employer, it's usually mobile. If it's an old employer, they're not, calling the shots anymore, and you can roll that over to an IRA. If you have an existing IRA, that's not tied to an employer, so that's always, transferable, and you can move it to an IRA as well. Once that cash is in an IRA, that's self-directed. And all self-directed means is we don't give you basically investment advice. We let you choose your own investments. So if you want to use it for real estate, we allow you to use it for real estate. And then once that money's in there, you can basically decide, okay, do I want to put all of it in a piece of real estate as an investment? Do I want to do just a portion? So the person with the retirement account's really calling the shots. They're not being controlled anymore by a broker or someone of that nature who's saying, you can only put it in these products that we offer. So Midland's a little different because we don't sell anything. So you kind of have a huge range of investment options. So if somebody wants to put a portion in a piece of real estate and the rest in stocks or bonds, they're more than welcome to do that. We just kind of give them the freedom to call the shots.
Okay, so if someone wants to do a portion in, let's just say, real estate, and the other portion in stocks and bonds, is there somebody at Midland that helps them figure that out, or should they really have another advisor that would say, I would suggest putting it in these different, stocks or whatever?
Sure. So they can open up a brokerage account at Midland to basically use that brokerage account to direct, the investments into stocks and bonds themselves. Quite honestly, though, most people have a stockbroker or a relationship with a financial advisor, someone that they trust. And it's kind of a nice kind of plug-in because I can have a brokerage account with my advisor doing stocks, bonds, mutual funds. But if I find a great real estate deal that's a huge rate of return that I could get better than what I can get in the stock market, I can basically, they call it diversify. I can diversify just a section of my retirement money into the piece of real estate and leave the rest with my stockbroker, who I trust, who I've known for years, who gives me an investment advice. I could leave the rest with them and let them continue to invest it. So it's not an all or nothing. I can pull over just a portion of that and put it into a great real estate deal that, I or my realtor finds for me.
Okay, so that brings me to my next question is, let's say I have a brokerage account with my financial advisor. And I say, okay, I want to take a portion of that money out and put it into a self-directed IRA to be able to use that for real estate investments. Am I getting a penalty by taking that money out and putting it into the self-directed IRA?
Great question. Not at all. So a self-directed IRA, self-directed means we let you choose what to put the money into, like real estate. A self-directed IRA here, though, we offer all the same types of IRAs. So at Charles Schwab, where your stockbroker is, you could have a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA or a SEP IRA or a simple IRA. There's all different types of IRAs out there. You could open up the exact same type of IRA here at Midland. The only difference is, what does Midland allow you to put in it? We allow real estate, whereas a Charles Schwab or Fidelity might not. So you basically could open up the IRA here. It could be identical to the IRA you have with your current financial advisor. We're going to do what's called an IRA to IRA trustee transfer. So all that is basically moving money between one retirement account to another. If you do it that way, it's not taxable, it's not reported, it's very simple. Midland pulls it over for you. The big thing to remember is you do not want to touch that money. If you touch that money, it becomes taxable. So we're going to pull it straight from your old IRA to the IRA here at Midland. If it's something like a rollover, meaning it's coming from a non-IRA, like 401k, a pension, a 403b. There's all different types of other retirement accounts that aren't IRAs. That's a rollover. And you're going to do what's called a direct rollover, where the money goes directly from the old retirement account, like a 401k. It's rolled directly to your IRA at Midland. The money doesn't go to you, doesn't touch your hands, not taxable. So
Right.
you're just moving money between retirement account to retirement account. There's no taxes or penalties.
So you're basically going to be the middleman between, in the previous example, my financial advisor in the self-directed IRA, where I could pull money, put it into the self-directed IRA, use that funds for an investment property, right? You can't use it for anything but investment, I'm assuming.
It has to be investment. You cannot use it personally, and any type of property qualifies. So as long as you're buying something for investment purposes, that's what you can put in a retirement account. So something like a primary home or secondary home, that's not going to work. As long as it's in your retirement account, you can't have any personal use of it.
Okay. And then let's just say you flip that property, right? So you take the money, you flip it. That money is then going back into the IRA and it's non-tax.
Correct. And I compare that to if you were to buy a stock today in your IRA account at Charles Schwab or Fidelity, you buy a stock and it skyrockets and tomorrow you sell it, kind of like you're flipping the stock, right? It's the exact same idea. When you sell that stock, all the income returns to your IRA tax sheltered. Same thing for real estate. All you've done is you've bought a piece of property, a real estate investment, and you've sold it, a couple days later, a month later, whatever it might be. And if you make a gain, all that income returns to your IRA tax sheltered. So it's a great tool. Just compare it when you think of like examples like that to a stock or a bond. It's the same idea. Instead of stock and bonds, I'm buying real estate.
Okay. And then if you're in same thing, buy an investment property, but it's a rental, you rent it out for 4 years or however long, 5 years. When you sell that property, that money from the proceeds is going back into the IRA.
Correct. So the IRA owns that rental property. The IRA pays any sort of expenses. So, homeowners association dues, insurance, maintenance, repairs. The IRA owns that property. So it has to pay those bills. And here at Midland, you have online access. So it's kind of like online banking where we have the property as an asset in your IRA. You have a bill you need to pay. You go online to your Midland account, pay a bill, type in the details, hit submit. And then Midland cuts a check and mails it off or sends an ACH or a wire, whatever you need. So the IRA pays the bills, and in return, the IRA gets to collect all the income. So it could be rental income, you might Airbnb it, you might sell it eventually one day. The sales proceeds, all the income returns right back to your IRA here.
Okay, so then that leads me to my last and final question. A lot of times if you're, let's just say, going to buy an investment property, you're going to get a mortgage on it. And you had said that IRA basically owns that property. So if you're going to get a mortgage, do you have to close in the name of your IRA? Okay, yes. So you have to find a lender that's going to allow you to close in the name of the IRA.
Correct. Now, usually the title of the IRA is not a big deal. So the IRA is listed as the owner. And so, for example, if you were to buy it through your IRA here at Midland, it would be Midland Trust for benefit of your name, IRA 12345. So there's no issue submitting contracts with that title of buyer. There's no issue closing in that name. There's no issue getting loans in that name. The biggest issue with loans and financing is with an IRA, it has to be a non-recourse loan. So most loans are personally guaranteed. If I don't pay that mortgage, the lender can come after me personally and anything that I own personally, right? With IRAs, the government, the IRS says, we can't offer those personal guarantees because your IRA is buying the property, not you personally. So non-recourse loans are a little bit harder. You usually have to put down anywhere between 30 to 50%. The interest rates are not a lot higher, usually only a couple percentage points depending on your lender, but it's a non-recourse loan. So my IRA is the buyer, my IRA is the borrower on all the mortgage documents, and then my IRA, it's not a person, it doesn't have a 9-to-5 job that it's using to pay the mortgage. So that property has to cash flow in order for me to basically have money coming back to my IRA that I can then use to pay that monthly mortgage and any other bills. So cash flow is important if you're leveraging and borrowing money to buy a property in your IRA. We see a lot of people though who are just doing cash deals, believe it or not. Retirement accounts are a huge section of people's wealth. They save up their entire lives and build up a nest egg so one day they can retire. So you can imagine cash is king. They've got a
Right.
huge pile of cash in these retirement accounts that they're then using to buy these rental properties or investment properties. So
Yeah.
I would say the majority of the deals here are cash, which is great. As a realtor, that makes your job a lot easier when it's a cash deal. If they don't have enough cash, they can partner. So my IRA can team up with anyone, my own personal savings, another retirement account, my spouse, a friend, whoever, and I can
Oh,
actually own
okay.
those properties together, tenancy in common. So my IRA owns a percentage, somebody else owns a percentage. So that's another option. So cash, partnering, or financing and getting non-recourse loans. Those are the three ways really to buy property.
Right. Well, I love all of these tips on ways to not only save money, but ways to invest, especially in real estate. I mean, I've been in real estate since for my whole career. So I love talking about this stuff. I hope this was valuable. Is there anything else that you think people should know about self-directed IRAs, or do you
Mhm.
think we pretty much covered it?
I think when you think of a self-directed IRA, you have to think it's an investor. So a lot of people aren't real estate investors to begin with, but when they find out about these, they go, you know what? That's a really cool option to basically put this money that I've been saving in my retirement account into something tangible. So it's, I can own an actual physical property instead of just a stock or a bond on the stock market that fluctuates a whole bunch. So
Right.
that's really popular. And I think for realtors, knowing about this tool gives you kind of an edge. It helps you basically find repeat buyers because these are usually people who become investors. They're going to do this over and over again. And it also just helps them basically save the taxes. They're not paying capital gains tax. They're not paying depreciation or capture tax. These are tax shelter deals, which people really, really like. So I think it's just a good tool for all realtors to know. That way, if you meet somebody, you should be incorporating into your sales pitch, what are you doing with your retirement accounts? Are you interested maybe in diversifying and putting some of that money into real estate? Because I could show you some great, investment properties if you do have retirement money that you'd like to use for those. So
Right.
just another sales tool pitch.
Absolutely. And the more the realtors know and can advise their clients, the better it is for them.
Mhm.
The better it is for the clients. Because I know there's a lot of people out there that don't know anything about self-directed IRAs, how to use them or anything like
Mhm.
that. So once again, Kelsey, you're bringing lots of knowledge to us. I really appreciate it. If anybody has any questions on self-directed IRAs, you can reach out to Kelsey Dineen with Midland Trust, located here in Florida, but can help you anywhere in the nation. And once again, thank you so much for being on, and I really, really appreciate it. Bye.